Peter Jackson and gang left a legacy hard to match with their adaptation of Tolkien's Lord of the Rings trilogy. Amazon's The Rings of Power tried, and from what I hear, hasn't fared too well, against fan ire for their lore retcons. But I've been riding the War of the Rohirrim hype train for some time now. With its release date on December the 13th, I thought I'd dedicate a short video on this, even though it's not related to TTRPGs. Being a weeaboo myself...
Konnichiwa senpai, please notice me. I watch Asian cartoons, I'm a weeaboo.
The thought of an anime aesthetic for a story set in a small window of Middle-earth's history got me pumped. I understand the fear from the dusty Tolkienites, which I count myself as one of them as well, that the whimsical nature of anime could distill and simplify the depths of Middle-earth lore. That being said, let me try to allay those fears and speak on the credentials of this production. Anime itself is a broad spectrum of genres and styles that the casual watcher may not know, from the sophisticated tones of Studio Ghibli drama films to the combat-heavy shonen series. The character tropes are not always shared across films. Watching Seven Seeds or Parasite is not the same experience as Bleach or Full Metal Alchemist. For me personally, Record of Lodoss War and some gritty Ninja Scroll-esque fight sequences would be my ideal vision for the show. Jubei vs. Tessai would easily be substituted for Helm vs. Snow Troll. But let's start at the beginning. For the uninitiated, the film's premise will focus on the war between the Rohirrim and the Dunlendings, two factions of humans fighting over a piece of land called Kalanarthon, which would later be renamed to Rohan. In a brief historical lore dump, the ancestors of the riders of Rohan were called the Northmen, and they came from a group of principalities in the northern region of Middle-earth, which was called Ravanian. After helping Gondor defeat the Easterling armies of the Balkoth, the steward of Gondor gave the Northmen Rohan as a gift. This caused some ire with the neighbouring Dunlendings, or Hillmen, as they had been slowly encroaching into Rohan since a great plague had decimated the Gondorian population who lived there. The premise of this film is surrounding the conflict between these two people, the Rohirrim, led by Helm Hammerhand, and the Dunlendings, led by Freka. Now, spoiler warning, Freka gets KTFO'd by Helm, and the guy never gets up again. And this is how he gets named Hammerhand, by using his fists to murder someone. Freka's son, Wolf, then seeks revenge and attacks Rohan during the seasonal onslaught of the long winter. Helm's forces are held up in the legendary fortress called the Soothburg, which would become Helm's Deep in the time of the Lord of the Rings. He breaks the siege of Dunlendings and wanders into the snowy wilds on a bloody rampage. Unfortunately, the king freezes to death, but a legend forms around his mythical feats of combat prowess. Freyalaf, Helm's nephew, finally wins the war, reclaiming Rohan and killing Wolf. Now we got the main plots out of the way, let's focus on the question at hand. Is anime a good fit for all of this? I would say yes. Being a combat-focused film with dramatic moments of revenge, determination and triumph, not to mention sacrifice, I couldn't think of any other style pulling this off quite as good. Not only that, but the production is in the hands of Philippa Boyens, Peter Jackson's co-writer on the trilogy films. And one of the screenwriters is actually Philippa's daughter. Not to mention the story was written by authors of the Dark Crystal Age of Resistance series, which I enjoyed. Regardless, writing credentials doesn't always make a great product. So whilst I'm excited, I'm still wary from all the damage that Hollywood has done to some of my favourite franchises. I say let's give it a chance and see if we can be taken away on another grand adventure in Middle-earth.